I'd like to start with the only action items we have this morning, which are the approval of the minutes from the November 29th, 2017 and March 7th, 2018 meeting. Trust committee members, you received a copy of the minutes. Are there any corrections?
Move approval, Madam Chairman.
We have a motion and second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The motion passes. We have a couple of information items. We're going to try and move this along pretty quickly. As we noted, the purpose of the Strategic Planning and Performance Measures Committee, we've got to find like a swaggy acronym for that, is to update the board and the community on initiatives that FAMU is doing and aligned to the strategic plan to move the needle and continue to keep FAMU moving forward. So today's presentation, we are going to talk about the customer service initiative, which is part of Strategy 6, the outstanding customer experiences. Dr. Eddington is going to give us a brief presentation and then kick it off to
All right. Thank you, Trustee Washington. Good morning.
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 First, just wanted to give you a brief update on where we are overall with implementation. So at the beginning of the implementation last year, we identified a set of what we call priority initiatives, given that the strategic plan has a number of initiatives. It's not practical to try to implement them all at once. So wanted to just take a moment just to kind of give you a view of where we are and remind you of what some of those priority issues are, with a focus on the ones in red, which are those that are going to begin implementation in 2. The first one is actually something that Chair Lawson addressed yesterday, making sure that we're using best practices around advising and predictive analytics. So that is one of our priority initiatives. And we have slated implementation begin in year 2, and it aligns with the allocation of the dollars we got from the legislature this coming year, $1 million. It's targeted to supporting that initiative, so that was good timing. So one of the key initiatives for year 2. Year 2 is also where we're going to invest and focus on promoting and expanding faculty research. Also, the university's website, we're going to do a major upgrade this year to the website, enhance some IT infrastructure, which includes updating some of our classroom technology, and then also evaluating our administrative and academic structure and making recommendations for enhancements to improve efficiency and effectiveness. And so that's just a high-level snapshot of where we are with priority initiative. And then we were also asked to give an update on some of the previous presentations for you where we focus on initiatives. So at the March meeting, we had a presentation from Dr. Brenda Spencer about our living learning communities, and the board had questions and suggestions on how we could move forward and enhance it. And so one of the things that we did during our budget council deliberations was to make sure that we set aside some funding for the initiative. So we are proposing to allocate a budget of $200,000 to the initiative this year, as well as expanding the concept. So it's focused on the first year. We want to really expand it to the sophomore year. So this year we're going to really start planning on how to do that. We got some limitations with dorm space, but that's one of the priorities, as well as taking some of the key concepts from the LLC and implementing what we call a student success community concept, where basically you take the cohort components and you figure out how to implement those so that more students are impacted who are limited by the housing space. And then also we had a presentation back in November from Provost Wright and V. Hudson about initiative to restructure our advisement unit. And so that's moving forward. We're transitioning the advisors from academic affairs to student affairs. Excuse me, student affairs is also in the process of a search for one of the key leadership positions that will oversee that unit, the AVP for Enrollment Management Success. And they are expected to fill that position in the next few weeks. And then also academic affairs is undergoing some structuring around the academic support unit to create a unit that they will call OASIS. Basically, the advisement moved out of academic affairs, and then they're going to restructure those remaining pieces with our first year experience program. Okay. Also, just a quick update on the budget. So we allocated about $8.5 million to support initiatives in one. And so these two slides just again give you a snapshot of what those initiatives are, how much each one was allocated for the first year, and as of this date, estimate of the percent of those funds that have been allocated. Then also some information there just to kind of give you insight into the impact and how those dollars used, and probably the priority of the priorities. First one, student success. That's where we're funding our advisement center, and you can see there the number of students advised. They have made some progress, particularly around increasing our 6-year graduation rate. And also you can see on the second slide again some of the other initiatives and dollars that were mounted and allocated in the impact. And you can see our training at the bottom has trained over 2,000 employees. I found quite impressive.
Here, we have any questions specifically from the board? The reason I asked Dr. Eddington to do this slide in particular is, as you may recall, the governor, after last session, asked how we would be spending additional dollars and what those initiatives would be to support student success. And I think that we here have very clearly outlined where those dollars went. So we can see very clearly that we have hired additional advisors. We're doing things around online education, improving our honors programs. These are things that we have identified in the strategic plan and have now put money where our mouth is to say that here's where we're moving the needle, and provided some very clear quantifiable outcomes. Next step I think would be looking at student outcomes, but at least we can see pretty clearly here where we're spending money, and I think that that's a good best practice for us to forward, to be very clear about when we get additional dollars or when we're reallocating dollars, here's the actual impact rather than here's a bunch of activities that have been spinning around. I like numbers, so this actually thank you, Dr. Eddington, for putting this.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Trustee Reed.
So maybe just to kind of just pile on a little bit to that, I would really like to commend you on this, because I think what you are seeing now is really clarity in terms of how we're actually utilizing the funds from the university from all aspects, right? We talked a little bit yesterday about the budget and some of the things that we're doing there in terms of really curbing expenses, but now we're getting a chance to see where those dollars are actually moving the needle in support of the strategic plan. And definitely seeing it in this way provides transparency for all of us to understand really how we're really moving FAMU forward. So just want to commend the team here for the work and for the transparency.
Thank you, Trustee Reed. Trustee Grable?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too want to commend Eddington and Trustee Washington, her committee, for the excellent layout of information here so that we clearly understand where the funding is in terms of how we're breaking the budget up to meet these various strategic plans. I just had one question. I know in regard to the advisors, we were informed they would be moved from academic affairs to student affairs. I guess I'm not sure at that time, were we informed that a lot of those advisors, we know they were moving, but what has resulted when we look at the move is that advisors who have been long-term in certain disciplines have been moved from one discipline to another, and they had a lot of experience in the discipline they were in. And just a short explanation would be helpful so that that is better understood by the community, campus community in particular. I have had some questions.
Yeah,
thank you.
So I have a limited understanding of that. That wasn't necessarily part of this initiative, but I do understand that academic affairs decided that it was in the best interest of the advisement process to move some people around, and the way I understand it is to align some of the individuals more effectively with the advising. And also I think that, you know, in some cases you may have had people who've been in an area for a long time. They probably felt that it was just fresh faces, but I just have a limited understanding. But it wasn't part of this structure.
Okay, do I see Dr. Hudson there? Because that question has come up a lot from advisors. And again, when we think about experience in a particular discipline and understanding the curriculum and moving new people into a discipline that they were not familiar with, I'm just curious how that improves the advisement component, even though it's not necessarily a part of yours, but when we see that they were moved, that is a part of this plan. So just a better understanding of that. And I see the provost raising his hand, Madam Chair.
You're recognized.
Good morning, everybody. Trustee Gregory, one of the reasons that we looked at the change was because we look at some of our academic units in general with the accreditation, some of our programs going through accreditation, some of our licensure exams. We have some of our advisors actually are a lot experienced. So we wanted to kind of shift around and use their expertise in some of our critical academic units where there was some need to have those more experienced advisors. As stated in the slide, we actually are hiring some new advisors, but to put them in areas where there was some critical experience that was needed, we felt it would not be in the best interest of those particular academic units. And so, I mean, a case when there's change occurring, you know, there's always going to be some frontal individuals or, you know, definitely some concerns, but we felt as far as the best interest of Florida A&M and overall academic units within FAMU, that this was at the best interest of why we did the change.
And I think that's an important part when we're thinking about change and at the enterprise, making sure that we're doing things in the best interest of students, not necessarily the adults, and making sure that we are laser focused on providing them with the highest quality of academic supports that we can. Trustee Grable, did you have additional?
Yes, just to follow up, and the concern wasn't so much that these people were disgruntled. I want that to be clear. It was just a question. And I think for them to hear this explanation may help them better understand what the change is, because sometimes people are a little leery about asking questions, concerned about their job, etc. So I hope that will help clarify it, and thank you.
And I can just add one thing. Myself and Provost Wright, we actually did meet with the advisors last week, and he did mention that over the next series of weeks we'll be meeting with more to discuss some things openly in terms of some issues they may have as well to improve our process.
Thank you. Any additional questions on this area?
Just a comment, Madam Chair.
Sure, Trustee Carter.
I was turning cartwheel, being a Tasmanian devil, working through our strategic plan. I do want to commend Dr. Eddington and share with your leadership, and Dr. Robertson for doing this, because philosophically, I believe that the strategic plan drives the budget, not the budget drives strategic plan. And I think this gives us a good snapshot as to where we are in terms of what we're trying to do to enhance. You know, we're in a position where we've got to do two things at one time. One, we've got to make sure that the trains run on time, but also in our move to excellence with caring, that excellence costs. So we're putting our money where the mouth is, but also it's tied into the metrics and it's tied into the parameters and the vision of our strategic plan. So with that, Madam Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Carter. Additional questions? Dr. Eddington?
Okay, and thank you all for those comments. And so moving forward, we're actually getting our project leaders trained and our software system skills going on as we speak. So in the future, we will be able to report out in much greater detail about how the funds were used and really start focusing on the outcomes at a much deeper level for you, and reporting these kinds of things with some dashboards. And also what's really exciting to us in year two, as I said, we have that funding from the legislature. That's where we get at your point, Trustee Carter, really focusing our resources around those key initiatives that are going to, so I'm looking forward to coming back in a few months to talk about some of those initiatives as well. So as Trustee Washington said, this meeting, the initiative that we want to highlight is our customer service initiative, which is strategic priority 6 in our plan. And here is just snapshot. One of the key goals is to develop and maintain a university-wide culture of service excellence. And here's some examples of some metrics. These are data that came from our annual exit survey of our graduates. So we survey them every semester as they're graduating, compile the data. And I'm just providing this to show you the type of data that we're going to use to help us track our progress on the initiative. It's just a snapshot. Joyce Ingram is going to speak to you about the initiative, and she'll talk about some of the key components so you can see how the identification of baseline metrics and those things will fit into the master plan. And so with that, I want to introduce Joyce Ingram, who's our Associate VP and Chief HR and Diversity Officer here, and she, along with Dr. France Renaud, are the co-leaders for
1 second, just to go back to that slide, what's the scale?
100%.
Is 1% satisfied or somewhat satisfied? Did it start with like satisfied?
No, oh, no, it's
Those were
the top is
two?
satisfied.
Okay,
yeah.
and
So-
then it was neutral and then?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Good morning, Chairman Lawson, Vice Chair Moore, all members of the Board of Trustees, President Robinson, and all friends and stakeholders of our university. As stated previously, we have 2 goals for Strategic Priority 6 focused on outstanding customer experience. Goal number 1 is to develop and maintain a university-wide culture of service excellence. And goal 2 is to sustain superior service levels with ongoing monitoring, accountability, and recognition programs to reward excellent customer service. So the team of priorities champions for Strategic Priority 6, consisting of representatives from the different divisions within the university, worked over the past 8 months to develop specific action plans with strategies for each goal and with key deliverables as follows. For goal number 1, our strategies are to, 1, assess the customer experience by examining critical points of contact and campus infrastructure. When we speak of critical points of contact, we are referring to frontline contacts potential and current students, parents, and other stakeholders make with our university, be it through our website, telephone call, email, or by actually coming on campus, interacting and engaging with us. These points of contact continue as key factors in a student's decision to stay or leave a university. Some initial points of contact may include our website, marketing materials, telephone system and protocols, people answering the phones, receptionists, collateral materials, decompression zones, lobbies, parking lots, and the list goes on. As it relates to goal number 2, our strategies will be to create monitoring systems or dashboards for acceptable, high-performing service levels, where individuals and teams are going well above and beyond in the delivery of customer service, recognizing them for a job very well done, and participation in external service excellence programs to garner recognition as an employer and university of choice, thus enhancing our brand recognition and our legacy as the #1 public historically Black university whose doors are open to all diverse groups who want a high-quality, affordable education and experience with us, FAMU. This chart represents the approach we will be taking in achieving service excellence throughout all levels of our university, all to support and assure success of our students, faculty, staff, and other key stakeholders. As you can see, our customer service initiative will not be a one-time event, but instead a comprehensive, sustainable process that will fully integrate core processes as it relates to recruitment of talent with requisite skills to execute and engage in service excellence, training and development of existing personnel on acceptable standards of performance and service standards, leveraging our diversity and inclusion initiative to assure that all who are performing have an opportunity to participate and to be fully engaged in the effective and efficient operation of our university. We're also looking at making sure we're driving accountability for success through our performance management process for our staff and faculty, recognition of our employees for a job very well done, that is delivering excellent customer service consistently, and by creating metrics such as those shared by VP Eddington to measure our progress, and by gathering data to report to you on what we are doing to assure continuous improvement in all we do as it relates to customer service. So how will we accomplish?
Yes, hold on.
Okay, I'd like to ask a question again related to that customer service framework. On 11, or slide 11, thank you, the information that was given to the board, he had listed there examples of key metrics, and those were just examples. Am I correct to assume that there would be others other than financial aid, food services, advising? Okay, which one actually applies then to the illustration on slide 15, customer service framework, to performance management accountability? What would be an example of a key